So, Daddy's back.
Yeah, I'm here.
I've been a huge Resi fan ever since I was a kid, watching my sister play through the games. And this year, we all got to watch our favorite streamers play through Resident Evil 9. You play as two different characters in the game. Both are federal agents, and I'm gonna let you see if you can spot the difference here.
I think I want a second opinion.
I
couldn't save them. But I can stop bastards like you.
this is all my fault.
Listen, Resident Evil is known for several kick-ass feminine characters who they refuse to bring back.
Like, as much as I love Daddy Redfield and Baby Girl Leon, they're literally the only characters ever allowed to be invited back in the series and play substantial roles. Where's Jill? Where's Claire? Where's Ada? Where's Rebecca?
Instead of any of those ladies, in Resi 9, we get Grace, a character so neurotic, she has trouble stringing sentences together.
Is anyone there?
And gets tossed around like a rag doll. And honestly, I think that's fine. To have a protagonist like Grace, who's an emotional wreck, it can be interesting, it can be well done, it can be relatable. I don't know how she became an FBI agent.
What do I do?
I mean, it says nervous system. Should just be a picture of Grace.
But what really struck me about Grace was how she repeatedly blamed herself for literally everything that happens in the plot.
This is all my fault. Again.
Girl, this is Resident Evil. The bad guys are like Batman villains. No offense, but what could you have possibly done to stop this? Grace's self-accusations make so little sense. Even the bad guy doesn't know what she's talking about.
So it really was all my fault.
What was?
It's actually your boss's fault for sending you in alone.
Perhaps it's time for you to face the past. Confront that fear head on.
This was such an obviously bad idea. I thought maybe he was working for the bad guys.
So the FBI wasn't in on it? I found it so weird that they just let her go there without a partner or anything.
And of course, throughout the game, our hero Leon is his usual, flawless, quippy,
Aren't we fancy?
calm, collected self.
Hello, gorgeous.
The only time his character actually disappointed me is when Grace, once again, says that everything is all her fault, and he doesn't console her. He doesn't say, no, it's not. This is all Spencer's fault. Or, no, it's not. It's all Umbrella's fault. He just says,
Look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But we're still alive. We have to keep going.
Grace's personality reminded me of this micro trend in horror movies that all came out around the year 2022, where a lot of the main characters were a lot like Grace, a female protagonist who blames themselves for everything that happens in the film. It's the opposite of a good for her movie. It's an all her fault film. Movies like Smile, Smile 2, the Hellraiser reboot, and Talk to Me all kind of have this general vibe where the main character is a woman who annoys everyone around her. They also believe, like Grace, that everything is all their fault. But the zombies aren't Grace's fault, so are these women right? Is it really all their fault? So I want to talk about this because I think it's interesting. And because as someone who is always liked in every room and every setting, I just simply can't relate. But also because when Leon let me down, I wanted to tell Grace it's not her fault. It's actually the fault of a completely different woman who was made of mold and simply trying to resurrect her dead daughter by kidnapping another baby. Before we get into this, I just want to say I'm the only person that I'm aware of who is calling this like a micro trend. It's just something I noticed. It's not like all these filmmakers got together and decided they're gonna make this one type of movie. And also, I really like all of these movies that we're gonna be talking about today. The Filippo brothers in particular are extraordinarily talented filmmakers who really know how to direct an impactful horror movie. I mean, the knife scene in Bring Her Back, you know the one. So just because I'm talking about these movies and I'm a woman doesn't mean that I hate them. We can think critically about the things that we like. Or, I mean, I can. If you can't, that's your ish to figure out. And no, I have not seen the All Her Fault TV show. I know nothing about it except apparently it covers some of these similar themes, but that, my friends, is all my fault. My first scientific question is, why is it her fault? Because when I think back on male characters in horror, they don't often blame themselves for anything. Immediately, I thought of The Fly, classic slimy but charming guy who is secretly terrible and is hoisted by his own ambitions. Sinister, everything is Ethan Hawke's fault, puts his family at risk just for his career. Uncut Gems, the Safdie brothers also work in this space. The inevitable consequences of their characters' actions are barreling towards us. But it's interesting to me that male characters so rarely blame themselves for what happens in a story.
It's not my fault.
No light speed.
It's not my fault.
They are usually unable or unwilling to self-reflect. I mean, that's usually how they've gotten this far in the first place.
What the fuck?
It's often a story about man's hubris or sheer audacity in the face of what is clearly all his fault.
This is my fucking way. This is how I win. All right?
There are even some movies about how men will construct Rube Goldberg justifications for why everything they actually did is really some other guy's fault. The I'm a different guy defense. Conversely, women characters seem to end up viscerally aware of or devastated by the fact that, quote unquote, everything is their fault. That all the harm and carnage can be traced back to them. And I'm speaking in general terms, but to me, who accepts blame and who denies the consequences of their actions often fall along gendered lines. Not because of any actual inherent difference between genders, but because of the world we live in. A world that was built on women being the scapegoat for everything from witchcraft to all the wars that ever existed. I am not kidding. One of the most famous Victorian thinkers, John Ruskin, lectured, "There is not a war in the world, no, nor an injustice, but you women are answerable for it. Not in that you have provoked, but in that you have not hindered. Men, by their nature, are prone to fight. They will fight for any cause or for none. It is for you to choose their cause for them and to forbid them when there is no cause. There is no suffering, no injustice, no misery in the earth, but the guilt of it lies with you." It's the Victorian version of "What were you wearing when we invaded?"
The moment you give women choice, they choose to improve their lives by marrying someone better. And so over time, what happens is your society collapses.
I mean, hell, let's go back even further. In the story of Adam and Eve from the Bible, Eve is of course tricked by the snake to eat the apple and then gives the apple to Adam. Adam blames Eve for the fall, and this is why Christians believe that humans are inherently sinful. I think we all casually recall this story of Eve tempting or even seducing Adam with an apple, which is funny because that completely erases the real villain, the snake, the guy who put this all in motion in the first place. What was Eve supposed to do? Literally defeat the devil in the Garden of Eden? Also, she has to give the apple to Adam, otherwise that would imply women have been gifted with secret knowledge that Adam does not possess. I also think it's interesting that in a different version of Adam and Eve from the Quran, it emphasizes that they are both at fault and are ultimately forgiven by God, implying that humans are born pure for accepting fault and repenting. The idea of original sin in Christianity was solidified by Augustine of Hippo writing around 400 AD, who interprets that Eve was especially susceptible to the serpent because women are weaker, less moral, and more corruptible than men. 2026 is giving you a big eye roll, my Hippo dude. So with that guy's blessing, the story of humanity's fall became about how women are bad, the snake is neutral to forgettable, and Adam is righteously justified in being mad at her for all of the problems in the world. Not because that's the truth or something that actually happened, but because it was written and co-opted by a patriarchal structure who needed to run defense for that snake for some fucking reason. And just like original sin is the idea that humans are marked with a sin that we supposedly committed before we were even born, women are marked with an idea that there is something inherently wrong with them before they are even born.
Oh, I know just how you feel, Pumpkin. I've had my share of disappointments, too.
It's a girl.
Can you check again?
Systems like the patriarchy create binaries, separating people into men and sluts in order to create a hierarchy to maintain and control the power structure that benefits them. If women are meant to be the home, then they can't beat you for a promotion. So the fact that men's "it's all my fault" stories and women's "it's all my fault" stories look different totally makes sense to me on a societal level. And bringing it back to Resident Evil Requiem, the dual protagonists, unhinged Grace and unflappable Leon, are cartoonish examples of that binary.
No!
At least I could save you.
FD Signifier put it better than I could in his playthrough of the game.
They got me on my masculine real quick and said, but here's Leon, don't you feel better now? And I was like, you know what, you're right. I do feel better. This is great. They put me in my feminine by making me feel disempowered. And now I do feel better now that he's here.
Now, you may be thinking that I am saying there are no good all her fault stories. Au contraire. Let's take a look at what I believe to be an incredible all her fault canon horror film. One of the best to ever do it. Drag Me to Hell is a Sam Raimi classic. In it, Christine works at a bank as a loan officer. In the beginning, we see her male coworkers not take her seriously because she's a woman.
I was wondering if you'd made any decision regarding the assistant manager's position.
Right now it's between Stu and yourself.
Stu Rubin, the new guy?
Well, I know he's new, but he's also quite aggressive. And we like that.
We overhear her boyfriend's mom critique her because Christine's family is lower class.
We're starved for dinner.
She's a very sweet girl.
She is. I can't wait
But
for
you
you
know,
to...
your father and I just have certain expectations for you.
We are placed immediately up against the ropes in a male-dominated workplace that values ruthlessness, in a class structure that judges her for growing up on a farm. And then she meets her match. Sylvia Ganoush enters the bank asking for an extension on her mortgage. Christine is sympathetic towards Sylvia, but with a looming promotion on the horizon, Christine does what her boss wants her to do.
I'll take care of it.
Deny the loan. And because of this, all hell breaks loose. Literally, get it? Christine was given an option to help someone in their time of need, and she chose the life of a girl boss at the expense of someone that she could have helped. We understand why she did what she did. It's not fair that she would be scrutinized at work if she had helped Sylvia out, and it's not fair her boss dangled a looming promotion in front of her. But she still made her decision, and in the end, the single decision to deny the loan is very much all her fault. Christine's circumstances create a hell in which she cannot escape. Getting the promotion would probably make her look better in her future mother-in-law's eyes, fixing both of her problems at once. But in order to do so, she must do what men do within this patriarchal system. Screw over someone you believe is beneath you, and that, in and of itself, is hell. Now I want to look at the films that I think are trying to pull a Christine. So, for my next scientific question, I would like to ask, is it though? Is it really all her fault? All right, let's dive into these movies. The all her fault trend really popped off in 2022 with the release of Smile, the Hellraiser reboot, Talk to Me, and continuing with Smile 2 a few years later. The female protagonists of all four of these movies share a distinct set of traits. These characters all struggle with addiction. Rose in Smile is a workaholic.
Hey, you haven't been here since the late shift last night, have you?
Both Skye in Smile 2 and Riley in Hellraiser explicitly battle drug addiction. Act 2 of Hellraiser is kicked off when she starts popping pills again, directly leading to the death of her brother. And Mia in Talk to Me battles a metaphorical drug addiction, as the hand which the characters use to communicate with ghosts is clearly a stand-in for party drugs.
Did you give him something?
No.
Come on, I know you've done before. What was it?
Nothing, I swear.
Each narrative ties the protagonist's addiction directly to their trauma, which ends up affecting their relationships with their families and romantic partners. Rose's mother overdosed on drugs, leading her to overextend herself, helping her own patients.
Do you still blame yourself?
And a boyfriend who she seems unable to really connect with.
Do you hear yourself? I mean, Jesus Christ, you sound crazy.
I am not crazy! Sorry.
Skye has a pushy, overly controlling momager.
And here I am, sacrificing every fiber of my being to support you.
And an emotionally abusive boyfriend who died in a car crash.
Oh, you look so fucking ugly when you cry. It's horrible. I can't.
Leading her to relive the past and fear that her actions will once again hurt those around her. Mia's mother took her own life battling with depression, leading Mia to live in denial about her own mental health problems.
Jay said you got depression after. It's just feeling alone.
And an obsession with her ex-boyfriend, who's now dating her best friend.
Hey, was my boyfriend before he was
Oh my
yours.
god, you guys held hands once 3 years ago. That doesn't mean anything.
Riley has a brother who acts like a father figure.
Hey, I worry about you, Riley. You gotta stick to this. Riley, I'm not trying. I love you.
Plus a fuck buddy who's literally manipulating her into doing this guy's dirty work. But somehow none of this is his fault. Most importantly, the traumas are framed as their character flaw, as if trauma is the monster that these women must overcome. This one's kind of weird, but in each of these movies, everyone in the universe of that film seems to find the female protagonist absolutely obnoxious.
She irritates the fuck out of me.
She's emotionally messy.
You guys have to believe me, please.
She drives everyone away, family, friends, romantic partners. People find these women insufferable.
Get the fuck out!
One of the most compelling shots from the Hellraiser reboot is when the chains burst out of Riley's chest. It's a physical manifestation of the way that her messy emotions, her heart, kills the people that she cares about most. These characters are constantly apologizing.
No, Jade, I'm so sorry.
God, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The protagonists of the two Smile movies in particular will not stop.
Sorry.
Hey, look where you're going. What, are you crazy?
Get out of here!
I'm sorry. No, sorry, not you. Sorry, I just called. I'm so sorry. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I'm laying all of this on you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. Get the away from me! I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Honestly, iconic. And finally, like our girl Grace, we learn that all four of these women blame themselves, whether the protagonist says it out loud or another character makes it very clear. These women are convinced that everything happening is all their fault.
Every good thing in my life ends up broken because of me.
And I have carried that guilt for my entire life.
I'm a bad person, so can you fix me? I hurt everything and everyone I touch.
I didn't want you blaming yourself.
You came because of me, because it's my fault.
After I noticed this trend, like any good pattern, I started seeing it pop up surprisingly often. Female characters shouldering all of the emotional weight of guilt and shame for unspeakable horrors.
And it's all my fault. I am so sorry.
I am so sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry. This is all my fault.
This is all my fault.
And carry that burden in a way that men just don't.
It's all our fault.
I wouldn't argue with you there.
There's even the rare case where a male character says the magic phrase, like this moment from Danny in Evil Dead Rise.
This is all my fault.
And apologizes for his actions.
I'm sorry, Cass.
But even in this example, we see the gender binary at work. With all of the female protagonists that I've mentioned, the narrative explicitly frames the bad things that happen as more than just the direct result of a simple action. Their entire narrative is awash with their negative emotions, driven by their anxieties and shame. Their guilt is symbolic, grand, biblical even. On the other hand, Danny isn't the main character of Evil Dead Rise by any stretch of the imagination. He has no real character arc, nothing to learn from his actions. When he finds the evil book that leads to almost everyone around him getting killed, it's boyish curiosity that leads him to do what he does, not trauma or addiction. His dad has left the family, but his missing father figure isn't thematically tied to him finding the book or opening it and accidentally summoning the Deadites. It's Beth, the female protagonist, who needs to learn a lesson, a specifically matronly lesson about being a mommy. I do think that these all her fault films were aiming to craft flawed, deep, well-rounded characters. But considering how often women are blamed for things that are not their fault, whenever a female character says, "It's all my fault," I never know if I'm supposed to believe that she believes everything is all her fault because it's a character flaw and her character arc is learning that she needs to stop feeling guilty for things that aren't her fault, or if the movie is really telling us that, yes, everything is all her fault. So, for my next scientific question, is it her fault? I want to revisit everything that these films have in common. Addiction is an interesting topic to discuss fault with. You kind of have to balance showing the harm that addiction causes the person who is addicted and their friends and family members, but you also don't want to demonize people struggling with addiction because it's literally a medical condition and it is extremely prevalent. So you will absolutely have people with personal experiences with it in your audience. And if we're talking fault, where do people like the Sacklers fit into that equation of who is at fault? It's just a hard subject to make someone take 100% of the blame for.
I let you all down, and I promise that will never happen again.
And while the other films are about literal drug addiction, in Smile, we are told that Rose's addiction is working too much, something no one would ever tell any man in the same position. And like, so what? She doesn't even have kids. Did the trauma monster check her time card before popping into her patient? Speaking of trauma, this one is even stickier. When we're talking about all her fault narratives that revolve around trauma, I think it's very easy to read it as, this trauma I have endured is all my fault. Healing from trauma is your responsibility, but the trauma itself isn't your fault. I would buy that Smile was trying to say something similar to this, but Rose isn't running from responsibility. She's running from trauma. We all agree this monster's name is Trauma, right? Okay, great. Is it their fault that they're annoying? Is it my fault that I'm annoying? Who do we get to kill because I'm annoying? Okay, now I am just getting Stepford wife energy from all of these people. Why are they apologizing 500 times a minute? Weren't women told that they were annoying for apologizing all the time? And that's why we all had to attend seminars or have our mothers tell us to stop apologizing? Which is it? Are they annoying because they apologize, or do they apologize because they are annoying? I'm not convinced that it is. It seems like you're all just dealing with difficult circumstances, many of which are beyond your control, not to mention a blood-soaked demon from the ether grabbing at your heels. So, oh, look who's here to join us. One of my favorite It's About Trauma movies is, of course, gay icon, The Babadook. Here we have Amelia, our female protagonist, who is seen as annoying by everyone around her, refuses to address the trauma that is wreaking havoc in her life, and yet she knows the trauma that she faced is not her fault. The car crash that took her husband away is not her fault. And between raising her son and working a full-time job, she hardly has a moment to allow herself to heal. She is surrounded by people who are not stepping up to help her in her time of need, and in fact blame her for what she's dealing with.
Isn't it time you moved on? I have moved on. I don't mention him. I don't talk about him. What strain is that on you, Claire?
We watch Amelia's concerning behavior escalate until she considers killing her own son because he is a reminder of the pain and suffering she experienced at the death of her husband. Just like in Drag Me to Hell, we understand the circumstances that make Amelia so isolated and alone, unable to confront the trauma banging down her door. And I think it adds to the horror, because if we understand it, we can see how, in theory, it could happen to us. Movies like The Babadook and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You really take you inside the mind and emotions of the female protagonist and force the audience to consider that these women are harming those around them with their actions, but also the impossible circumstances that they have found themselves in. It adds to their depth. It grounds their questionable actions in our fucked up reality. We show the serpent whispering in their ears as we watch them take a bite of the apple anyway. And I think that's what sets them apart from the all her fault narratives that I mentioned earlier. While those films, which all happen to be written and directed by men, feel like they are at a distance from their female protagonists, judging their actions and emotional outbursts from the outside, the women filmmakers of The Babadook and If I Had Legs bring us closer to these women and the existential horror taking place within them. It's not to say male writers and directors can't write women with that kind of depth. I already mentioned Sam Raimi, and Colossal, written and directed by my friend Nacho, is a sorely underrated flick. Is it these women's fault that they saw their mothers die before their eyes? Is it their fault that some guy made a box that summons BDSM demons? Is it their fault that a virus was created in 1997 as a biological weapon? Ultimately, which woman is to blame for this is a devastatingly boring question to me. It's an accounting question. It's a question of balancing the books of morality.
This is all my fault.
Jay, don't.
I feel like men think acknowledging fault is this huge, revelatory experience because they hardly do it, when in reality, it's simply step one. Not only is it not revelatory for these women characters, they're apologizing 15 times a day, it's often not even true. See, Grace blames herself for, well, everything. But this is even weirder when you realize the game goes out of its way to give a redemption arc to Oswald Spencer, the Emperor Palpatine of the Resident Evil franchise. He's responsible for the T-virus that turns people into zombies, resulting in millions of deaths? Stretching back decades?
Also, I don't know how I feel about the redemption arc for Spencer, of all people. Isn't he totally fucked up? Obviously being the founder of Umbrella and all the stuff that they made and how they made their money. Isn't it just totally corrupt?
But we are supposed to feel like he turned over a new leaf because in an interview on his deathbed, he reveals that he adopted Grace. Which is doubly ironic because he doesn't even raise Grace! Grace is raised by the woman who conducted the interview, who also gets killed in front of Grace's eyes. And is the central core of Grace's trauma that she feels is her fault. So this guy, who is actually at fault for everything, gets redeemed. But Grace, who saw her mother killed in front of her eyes, spends the entire game running around, shouting about how she is a terrible monster who has ruined everything. And no, it's not a story where Grace learns that she shouldn't blame herself for other people's actions or overcome her fears, gain inner strength, or do really anything at all.
You know, usually in a survival horror game, you might have someone starting helpless like Grace, and then as they go on, they gain various weapons and items and become much stronger by the end. This doesn't really happen with Grace. She never actually has to become that powerful because then you go to Leon, who starts powerful and stays powerful.
So, I guess I'll be daddy. Don't sweat it, Grace. It wasn't all your fault. It was actually the fault of a sacred flower in West Africa called the Stairway of the Sun, exploited by Oswald Spencer as part of his plan to... Wow, Maggie, if you're so opinionated, why don't you just make your own horror movie? Good idea, voice inside my head. I am making my own horror movie. It's called Blow, and it's about a blow-up doll named Doll who takes revenge on predatory men. It's glittery, it's bloody, it's campy, it's scary. Our horror monster takes the object of the male gaze and turns her into an agent of violent justice. Right now, we are running a campaign to raise money to film Blow and bring Doll to life. The short is a standalone 10-minute film with a twist ending. And if a movie about a blow-up doll luring people that deserve it into her dollhouse sounds like something that you would like to see, check out our page on Seed and Spark where you can donate to our crowdfunding campaign. We wanted to make sure everyone who donated got to walk away with something special, so we came up with some really cool rewards. From your name in the credits, to a personalized postcard from Doll, to a social media shout out, to a copy of these movie notebooks I designed to keep track of everything you watch. By the time you're seeing this, there are only a few days left to help support the campaign. And we know times are tough, so if you can't swing a few bucks right now, just give the project a follow on Seed and Spark and share it on social media. Every little bit counts. I've put together an amazing creative team, including our unbelievably talented creature designer, Krista, who designed and fabricated Doll. You might have seen some of the YouTube shorts that I've uploaded that give a behind-the-scenes look at how Krista created our monster. Our director, Monica, was featured in the documentary Horror Noir to represent the future of Black horror directors, and she's directed beauty and drag videos, making her the perfect person to helm our project. Our producer, Vicky, a Sundance Producers Lab fellow, is an absolute pro. And our production designer, Dan, designed and built our set for my show on Nebula, Amy's Dead End Dream House. We're well on our way towards our goal, but we still need a lot of help getting there. This budget will go towards paying our crew a fair wage, renting cameras, a light package, feeding everybody, not to mention post-production costs and insurance. So check out our Seed and Spark page, link in the description below, share the project, contribute if you can, and tell all of your friends about Blow, the movie about a blow-up doll that kills people. There are plenty more of my videos that you can check out here on YouTube. I've also got a Patreon if you like to support your favorite creators that way, or you want to get the videos before anyone else. Just head over to patreon.com/MaggieMayfish. And of course, I am on Nebula, the creator-owned streaming service where you can watch both of my Nebula exclusive series, Unrated and Amy's Dead End Dream House. Wow, that was a lot. This was a terrible week to switch over to new antidepressants. So, until next time, tell Martha it's not all her fault. It's actually Batman and Superman.